What's up, Dunwoody? Welcome back to the podcast. It's all about Dunwoody, Georgia. My name is Matt Weber. Show is brought to you by Dr. Brett Friedman with Village Orthodontics and Discover Dunwoody. Today I've kind of been doing this thing where I'm trying to get into the high school and trying to understand the high school a little bit better because my son's going to be going there next year. And Luke's a neighbor of mine. And with the counseling department, you are the head counselor, I think.
Yes.
So you guys are on today, and we're just going to kind of talk about the counseling department at the high school, and I guess we can just take it from there. Luke, you guys want to introduce yourself? This is Denise and Luke.
Hi, I'm Luke Ingram. I'm the head counselor at Dunwoody High School. I serve students with the last names U through Z.
Okay, let me stop there. That is a very small group, is it not?
It is a smaller group.
Did you get a small group? Okay.
Yes, I get a smaller group.
I saw that online. I was like, U through Z? Come on, Luke.
Yeah, it's a smaller group. I also help with dual enrollment. And then also with our online learning, so Flex Academy, Georgia Virtual School. So there's some kind of unique things that I have to help out with as the head counselor that the other counselors don't have as much access to. So it just makes more sense for me to take a larger role with.
That makes sense. And you'll have my kids too as W's. Yes. There you go. Denise, how about you?
So, I'm Denise Spain, and I'm the counselor for P through T. So how we're divided up, we do have 5 counselors here, and each of us have an alphabet. And as a student comes in, we will be their counselor for the next 4 years. So the P through T freshmen, I follow them along until they're seniors at our school. We do have other support. So we do have a senior advisors. We have 3 of them. We also have a social worker. So our counseling department is pretty big and heavily involved with our students.
Yeah, I was going to say 5 people. That seems like a lot for the amount of students.
And so we also have Mrs. DeRue. She has students A through C. Miss Bunyan has D through J. And Miss Wright has K through O. These are our other counselors. Something that's a little bit unique, I guess, for high school that our students coming from middle school aren't as used to. We do have a specific 504 coordinator. That's Miss Wickman. She's not really considered part of the counseling department, but that is something that people are sometimes used to the counselors handling that in high school is kind of moved out to a different area.
Okay. Have you guys been at other schools? How does Dunwoody, what makes Dunwoody special as far as the student population and the kids there and that kind of thing? I say kids. I'm going to keep saying kids for some reason, but they're young adults, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I started my career, I did 4 years in Gwinnett County. I actually did my internship at Brookwood.
I did not know that.
Yes. So, and then I did 4 years in elementary schools in Gwinnett. So, the schools here are smaller, more community focused. I would say, there's a lot of the walk to school Wednesdays around here, particularly in the elementary schools. But I think really, and I think you recently talked to Coach Bass about like the bring it home thing and just the community that you see in the Dunwoody schools, I think is a unique facet. To the school and the community.
So like Luke, I've been all over from elementary to middle to high school. And what I really appreciate about Dunwoody is we are a truly diverse population. We serve many students that have come from all over, which is beautiful. And with that and having our community involvement really helps us tap into some of our students that are less fortunate. And so a lot of the times people think of the counseling department heavily on the academics where the students are going to go to college. But I do want to put a plug in there is that we do have a new group called the CARES Club, which is run by our students. And in the CARES Club, what we're trying to do is, because we are blessed with a wealthy community, to bring some of those resources into the schoolhouse. So we have a pantry, we have a backpack program. We just partnered with Backpack Buddies who are going to feed our kids weekly. They've been a blessing to us. We have a lot of donors in the community. I had a special needs student that needed shoes, but specific shoes where they're adult male now, and
Mhm.
tying shoes is not reasonable. So they were able to go buy a slip-on shoes or pants that just slip on like gym shorts.
Okay.
So that is one of the great things to be in Dunwoody versus a school that's predominantly low income where you kind of struggle to get those donations outside. But since we have that diversity here, we can pick up the phone and say, hey, do you have that? And they've always been so very generous. We are very blessed to have such great parents and students.
Mhm.
And sometimes there is a misconception when you drive up to Dunwoody High School and
Yes.
you're dropping off donations and you look around like, well, why do they need it?
They don't
Well,
need help.
yeah, they don't need help. And so sometimes we have to show them the campus and give them examples and reasons why.
Yeah.
Because as a counselor, it helps us out with bridging our relationships with our families. So if there is any kind of trauma or situation, they know that we have a big heart and that we've helped them out in the past. So
Yeah.
it really,
And they can trust you.
yeah, they trust us. And so the food is just not about donating or giving it to the family. It's us about doing a whole wraparound service for our community.
Okay.
We've been wanting to do a food pantry for a while now. Dunwoody is large. Space is always a concern. So, Miss Spain has been instrumental in getting the community partnerships. That's been a really big thing that she's done. And
Yeah.
then Miss Nash, our registrar, Tracy Nash, was actually really instrumental
Mhm.
in helping us actually secure a space in the
Okay.
building, which has been wonderful and helped us really roll that out this year
Yeah.
in
So
a
Yeah.
big
And
way.
So two of the pushes we have are our food drive, which would be, like things that are easy to open because we do have students in transition in the hotels around here. And the other
Mhm.
big thing is leftover Halloween candy because
Okay.
we know we have emotional kids that'll come in. They'd had a bad day or they are little not they're just not happy. And a
Right.
Snickers bar or a lollipop really brightens up their day no matter what age you are.
It does. It does.
Mhm.
And you can have some of my kids' candy because they have too much at
Yay!
this point. Luke, you know that Dunwoody North is
Big
crazy
on
for
Halloween.
Halloween. So they came back with a stuffed bag.
Yes.
So we'll have to bring some of that by. Well, that's awesome. I mean, I don't want to get too political here, but this is the time that people need food. So yeah, absolutely. So how is you've kind of talked about how the counseling department is structured. What do you do day to day? Is it a lot of, I mean, yeah, just leave it open. What do you guys do day to day?
So the great thing about counseling, I would say, is that no 2 days are
It's
ever
different every day.
the same. There's always something different. I think Miss Spain alluded to there. We don't just do the academics. We kind of run the gamut. So we have students with social emotional concerns. We do the academic advisement piece. We're actually coming up in the next couple of weeks. We'll be beginning to select courses for next year with our students. We also do the college advisement. We're still in the middle of kind of following up with our last bit of seniors on doing their college and their post-secondary planning for those of them that are not going to go to college because that's not everybody. For our students that are coming back from private schools,
Yeah.
we will actually have specific advisement for them as well. We've noticed that is a lot of times a concern, like you noted,
Yeah.
coming in and maybe feeling a little bit directionless. So we do make sure that we kind of reach out and make sure that we get those students taken care of as well, so that they don't come in with as much anxiety about the
Well, it's the size of the schools too, I think.
Yes,
And especially, from Gwinnett, we had like multiple middle schools.
Mhm.
And so you kind of like moved up, it was like a smaller elementary, slightly bigger middle school, and then the giant high school. And, here you go from the elementary school to this giant middle school.
Right.
And I think that's tough for kids.
It really is. Uh-huh.
And so it's like, I don't know, a lot of my friends' kids are at Peachtree, and that's like a giant school. And so they're kind of used to it. But my son's got, I think, 50 kids in his class. And like, that's a little different in the opposite
Right.
direction.
Mhm. So,
Yeah.
and, I know a lot of families like yourself that are coming in. It's a lot of uncertainty. But what we do want to really mention to our families is please set up an appointment with us. Our doors are always open. We would love to sit down and talk about the academic plan, what the classes look like from year to year, because
Mhm.
what kids don't realize is there's no social promotion. It's about obtaining credits. So
Yeah.
if you had a hiccup in 6th grade, it's okay, unless it's a really terrible, you're going to move up to 7th grade and 8th grade. But as soon as you're starting as a freshman, those are hard grades that are going on your transcript. And as
Yeah.
we all know, colleges has gotten increasingly very competitive, like UGA. And
For
those
sure.
freshman grades don't disappear. They're going to be on your transcript, or even 8th grade grades if you took any kind of high school credits. So please meet with us. We are blessed with about, I say, 450 students each. So when we have parents that communicate with us and tell us their needs, it really helps us out in our role.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I feel like high school has changed a lot since we were in high school. And I was in a little before you guys, I think. But they, now there's dual enrollment and
Yeah.
work release programs and all of the different things. I assume you're involved in that as well.
Yep.
Yes.
Trying to counsel people through that and
Yeah.
what they need to succeed. And I've got, I own a restaurant, and so a lot of the teens, I won't say kids, that work for me are trying to decide whether they want to do work release and come to work and make money, or if they want to take the AP classes. And then I've been recently, there was a girl a couple years ago that has made all A's, but she only took, I think she got up to like gifted classes or honors classes and never took the APs and didn't get into college because of that. So it's a delicate process that I'm sure that you guys have your finger on the pulse and trying to keep up with it.
Yeah, and it's a double-edged sword. There are so many options at Dunwoody. It's great, but it can be overwhelming. And that's where it's really important, like Ms. Spain said, to meet with the families, talk with the students about what their goals are, so we can help make sure that they're making the best decisions possible for what they want their future goals to be.
Mm-hmm. And like how classes are weighted, we don't want a kid to be in a gifted history class if they're not good in history, and then you got a B in there. That B is the same as a regular course because you're only getting 3 points. So we want to make sure we map that out for the student, that they know the difference in weights and what they're actually trying to target at the end. I know it sounds crazy from freshman year, you're already thinking about college, but again, those grades are hard and they will show up on your transcript. So that's
they're not thinking about college, but we're thinking about college.
The parents are,
Yes, exactly. I mean, that is, one of the more important things. What about like extracurriculars? Is that something that you guys have to focus on? Is try to work them through it, or try to pull them back from it, or push them into it? How does that work?
So I would say that in talking with colleges, there are some colleges that are going to say, the academics are the most important thing. They don't look at the extracurriculars as much. But I would say for the colleges that do, what we hear again and again is that they want someone who has taken a leadership role, that has made an impact. They don't really want you to just collect a bunch of memberships.
No. Or like I did a food drive in December of 2022 too. Like they want
you to be involved in it.
Be involved.
Be involved. And leadership, they've said leadership doesn't always mean a title. It can be that you led something without being elected president or vice president or being a founding member, just somehow showing that you've been involved and been making an impact in your community.
And I think that's one of the things too that we tell our students is building relationships with your teachers and your coaches or whoever you are in the high school working on a relationship, because you're gonna eventually need them for your letters of recommendation as your seniors. And that includes us as counselors. We're gonna be their letters of rec. So the more that they're in our face, that would help us better capture them as a student. So you, as a senior, you don't want to say, oh my gosh, who do I ask for be my letter of rec? But as you said, if you're into the extracurriculars and you've gotten involved, that should be an easy, I'm going to ask Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so.
Yeah. How much interaction do you have with the parents? This is a question for my wife, really, because she is probably going to be in your ear, Luke. Do you guys deal with the parents a lot, or is that more of like a freshman thing?
And we love it. We actually we see them all the time, and I also live in the community, so I'll be smiling at people at Kroger's, and I'm like, are they a parent or not? I'm just gonna smile. So it is a blessing to be here because the kids know where they want to go, what their goals are, and so do the parents. And we want to get involved with that.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
we do want to meet with the parents. We want the parents to be involved, but as the students get older, we of course want them to take a larger
You
and
gotta
larger
draw a
piece of
line.
that advocacy for
Yes,
themselves,
say it again.
Right.
so that
Kids get
they can get used to, when they're in college, the college isn't going to communicate. And
Yeah.
this is true for dual enrollment as well.
Yeah.
The college doesn't communicate with the parent
or us.
Right.
or with the school. So the students need to start learning that independence. And so, we do want to meet with the parents, of course, even when we do our senior advisement with the students when we're talking about college or their
Yeah,
post-secondary
it has to do with
plans.
the student.
The parents are invited to that, but we really want by senior year the students to be that driving force
Yeah.
Because
for
they're
their
gonna have
plans.
to pick up the phone and call the admissions office and ask why there's a hold. And you'd be
Yeah.
surprised how many kids freeze. And they're like, "Miss Bain, can you do it?" I say, "No, bud, put it on speaker, but you gotta go ahead and
Mhm.
call them."
Yeah. And I've got a lot of people, they'll come in to ask for an application at our restaurant, and they'll come in with their parents. And, I think it's maybe a little good and bad, because when I was in high school, my parents weren't really involved. And I also didn't come to the counselors and like, what do I need to do for college?
Mhm.
I just kind of slid in at the last minute. And back then I could get into UGA with a 3.0. It's a little different now.
No.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
No,
Not
I
anymore.
A little different.
a 4.3 minimum. Looking for something fun for the whole family? Discover Dunwoody is spotlighting all of the best kid-approved and parent-friendly activities around town. From parks and playgrounds to interactive museums and seasonal events, there's always something for families to enjoy here. Their videos and posts make it easy to plan a weekend or trip everyone was going to remember. And if you've got somebody, family or friends coming to town, have them book a stay at whatsupdunwoody.com/hotels. Booking through that link helps support our podcast. And for the latest kid-friendly events, just visit whatsupdunwoody.com/events. All right, for selfish reasons, I want to get straight into my son going to the school next year. I think we're going to be there next week, actually, to
How
meet and
exciting.
give us the tour and
Yes.
stuff. I actually signed up for 2 classes, or two
2 tours.
tours, I guess. Yeah, that's what they're called.
And your
How
son's
does
coming?
what's that?
Is your son coming too?
Yeah, I think he's going to come
Yay.
too. But yeah, I just want him to kind of get used to the school a little bit, so signed up for 2. But how does that work? Like the introduction to high school, like course selection, that kind of thing. Is that through the counseling department, I'm assuming?
Yes. So we will actually be meeting with the Peachtree students in early December to
Okay.
begin the course selection process. And then I meet with the students that are planning on coming back to Dunwoody from private school, usually in early to mid-January. And it's largely the same information that we go over. There are some things that are a little bit different for the ones coming from public school versus the ones coming from private.
Right.
But at this point, or at the point that I meet with the private school students, a lot of times there's anxiety of, have the Peachtree students already filled up, like the AP Human Geography class
Yeah.
that's offered to ninth graders. At that point, nothing is finalized in the computer. The master schedule hasn't been created. So there is still room in those classes. Mr. Jameson, has been building the master schedule for a long time. He kind of knows how to factor in, the students that we have coming back in. So it's still regular course selection. They have just the same chances of getting into classes as the students from Peachtree. So we try to kind of settle those worries that are natural coming back in. We do talk about some of the unique, in that January meeting, some of the unique things about each of the private schools, because we do sometimes, Cornerstone's usually good. They send us their transcripts, the students.
Oh, they're good at everything. Yeah. They're on top of their game.
Yeah, that have taken high school classes and middle school. We get those credits, we get them in, and they move on to the next classes. But we do have some private schools also that the students take high school classes, but they don't actually get high school credit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are some of those schools where if they were to continue in private high school, they might move on to geometry. But because they weren't actually issued an algebra credit here at Dunwoody, we have to have them
gotta go
retake that
back.
algebra class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The benefit of that, though, is they've seen the material, so it
Yeah,
should
it's not
be
the
an
worst thing in the world.
easy A. It
I
should
went
be an easy
into
A.
I took calculus in high school, and then I took pre-cal in college, and I got like over 100. It was great.
Right.
Yeah, I felt real confident. All my friends were struggling. I was like, "There, I got this." It's
Right.
easy.
Right.
Well, that's cool. That's how does the course selection work? Like, how do you know? I guess you look at what they've previously taken. There's no testing coming in, though. Do you look at test scores and that kind of stuff?
So what we have with Peachtree and what we often recommend for the private schools as well is with the core classes, kind of talking to the teachers
Okay.
that you've had about what their recommendations are. And many of the private schools have been sending students to Dunwoody, large groups of students to Dunwoody, and they know kind of what to expect at Dunwoody, what the students are going to do well in. So really talking to your students' current teachers about their recommendations is best.
Okay.
And then there are a lot of
Wow, y'all
elective
dive deep.
subjects.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
Talking
we
to a lot of
really
people.
do.
Yeah. That's
Then there are a
awesome.
lot of elective options. And so, those are just going to be kind of what your student is interested in exploring.
Yeah.
And so they do need electives to graduate, and what they need to graduate is 3 of the same. So
Okay.
it's not that you're gonna get stuck in if you do engineering and, I didn't like it that first semester, I wanna do something else. But what we don't wanna see is bouncing. So if engineering wasn't for you, but you wanna do computer science, you'd have to master all levels 1, 2, and 3,
Mhm.
and then you've knocked out your, elective requirements. Because remember, in high school, we're not grades is important, meaning the grade level, but what we're really trying to do is chomp away at credits.
Yeah.
Some of the things I don't know if you want to talk about is the different levels of courses, because sometimes they'll ask what is gifted, accelerated, and AP and dual enrollment, and how do they
Yeah.
weight?
This is sounding more and more less like high school and more like college.
It
Like
is,
you're already trying to figure out what you're going into. That's
Yeah.
nuts. I think I was a junior in college before I finally settled on a school.
Yeah.
Like which major I'm going to go into. But that's good because
Yeah.
my son, you mentioned engineering, and that's something that he'll love. I mean, he'll love like the robotics clubs and that kind of stuff. But when I was in high school, I remember just taking. I think I took English, calculus, and then 4 electives, and they were just scattered electives of weight training and team sports and that kind of stuff. So I'm glad that you are kind of narrowing it down
Yeah.
to what they're interested in, what they're good at, because that's what you kind of want to double down on, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the different options of classes. So we have our general college prep curriculum that'll get them into, your state schools just fine.
Mhm.
We have accelerated gifted classes. And so that's a great feature about Dunwoody High School, where our students that never tested into the gifted program for whatever reason, just not good at test taking, test anxiety,
Or they came from a private
came
school,
from a private
haven't gotten
school.
tested
Yeah.
yet.
Right. They're able to access that same level of rigor as the students that did test into the gifted program.
Okay.
And we've had a lot of students that has been, great for that they've been able to access those higher rigor classes. And that'll prepare them for going into those AP or dual enrollment classes. We, suggest Coach Bass says leveling up. So, if you've been excelling in those college prep classes, level up to an accelerated gifted. If you're doing great in the accelerated gifted, level up to an AP or a dual enrollment.
Yeah.
And then those AP and dual enrollment classes are the college level classes that can get you college credit while you're still in high school.
But we want it to be a balance in high school, because remember, this is still high
Right.
school. You
Yep.
want to have fun. You want to enjoy the moment, because you're not going to be able to live this again, right? So a lot of our kids are highly competitive, and they want to take all those accelerated gifted courses in AP and dual enrollment, but we don't want to see burnout
Yes.
by the time they're seniors.
I'm going to show my son this.
Yeah.
Specifically for that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I loved high school, and I
Yes.
just, it was, I didn't want to leave. And now I see all these kids like really trying to push it and, get into college earlier and taking all the dual enrollment type of stuff. You see that a lot more, people skipping grades and that kind of thing. And just want to be like, slow down, take it easy.
Enjoy yourself.
Right. Exactly. Do you have a lot of interaction with the teachers and that kind of things to pull kids back or kind of push them forward? How does that work?
So I think we really, throughout kind of rely on the teachers to make, because they are the subject area
Yeah,
experts, to
they're our
make
Right.
front line.
those recommendations.
Yeah.
Um, and there are times that students and parents decide to go against the teacher recommendation, and it's fine. A lot of times when they go against
Does
the
not
teacher
work out.
recommendation, it doesn't work
No,
out
it
well,
Yeah.
and they're
I can
with
imagine.
us a couple weeks later changing their
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes the teachers know the kids better than the parents know the kids.
Yeah.
And
At
it
least
happens the
the school
opposite
kid.
way too. We've had teachers email us and say they need to be pushed
Mhm.
forward, that they can do an AP course. So
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
get both emails. Hmm.
Yeah. What about like student I'm going to make this a selfish thing where I'm going to ask a bunch of questions about my kid, but what about like student government? That's something that he's in at Cornerstone, and
Mhm.
he was elected to it without ever running for it or anything like that. Like, is that something that do you guys have any influence in, or not influence in that, but any interaction with the student government?
So student government, I believe, is still led by Miss Caggie, who's actually
Okay.
a Dunwoody alum.
Mhm.
All right.
I think she grew up in our neighborhood actually.
Okay.
But it's a very active
Yeah.
student government. They
Yeah. I would
do,
assume.
yeah,
I
they
think a
do
lot of stuff is
elections.
very active at Dunwoody High School.
They do elections. I think they send Miss Caggie sends out something, making sure that the students don't have any, concerns, like, they've been respectful in class and everything
Yeah.
like that. But those are mostly done through election. I don't think we really have like a huge um,
Not much to do
influence
with
in
that.
that, but they're, a great support throughout the school
Yeah.
building.
But just like we
Yeah.
talked about our club, it's the CARES Club. We also have during, I think it's September, it's
Oh,
called
yeah.
Club Rush.
Mhm.
Oh
Mhm.
my gosh, we will invite you one of these days. The amount of different clubs that we have for our students, we have fencing, we have rowing. I saw a
Okay.
fishing club.
So is this
All
like a job fair where you
Yes,
walk in and they're
it
like,
is.
join our club, join our club?
Yes,
Yes,
a
yeah.
Okay.
gaming club. I mean, I saw all kinds, and it was so beautiful to see because, you think of high school, you think of, oh, football players and cheerleaders, and then the drama kids
Yeah.
and the skater kids. Actually, it's so cool that we've made it so easy for kids to get involved in different
That's
things.
Mhm.
great. Yeah.
Mhm.
For a place for them
Any
to fit
interest
in.
they have.
Any interest. And it's
Yeah. 'Cause
interesting to see what kids are interested in.
it's tough to fit in high school. I feel that.
Yeah.
Well, cool. All right. Well, do you guys have any, normally I do businesses and stuff. Do you have any calls to action? Like, how do people reach out to you, or what should people be concerned with the counseling department?
So in terms of reaching out to us, I can shoot you the link to our website, but really
Okay.
email is probably the
Mm.
best way to reach out to us. We're often with students or parents, so a lot of times a phone call doesn't necessarily reach us because we're
Yeah.
in the middle of talking to someone. But email is usually a good way to reach out to us. We have a lot of information on our website.
Okay.
We try to keep up, like, they're still fairly relevant. There are only a few tweaks every year to like the curriculum, but like we keep our old course selection forms up there in case anybody has any questions about what our course offerings are. We keep the
Okay.
dual enrollment stuff up there, all of that kind of stuff. That kind of gives people an idea so that when they do meet with us, they know what questions they have
Right.
instead of just like, I need to know everything.
Yeah. No, we don't know what questions we don't
Right.
have at this
Yeah.
point. So yeah. I'll
And
relay
that's
all that
the big
information to
thing.
my
We're
wife.
gonna be with the kiddo for 4 years, unlike,
Yeah.
your teacher who you're only gonna be with for a semester. So we really wanna stress, we wanna create a relationship with the family. So we invite conversations, we invite
That's
them
great.
to email us with any kind of even if they're confused about a question or they're not too sure, please feel free to reach out to us.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, thanks for coming on, answering all of my questions, and
Yay!
yeah, we'll talk soon. Thanks a
We
lot.
Okay.
love Dunwoody High School and the community, so thank you.
Yes, and you were lucky to be there, really. I mean, with
Yeah.
all the teachers, and it's such a good feel. It's like a community feel at the high
Oh, we
school.
love it.
Mhm.
We do.
Yeah. So, well, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Bye.